is because 15-minute fair value gaps give you supply and demand zones, right? So 15-minute fair value gaps give you supply and demand zones. So let's just zoom into the price action and see what we had, right? So we actually had a 15-minute fair value gap resting over here. So this was our supply area. This was our supply zone just over here, right? So for those who can't see this, we have a small fair value gap over here, and our supply zone is going to be this buy to sell area just over here. This is what's important to understand, right? So why was this a high probability zone? Well, there's a few reasons for that. If we just go over to the left, what we can see is we can see price actually came into this fair value gap from the left, right? So we saw a bullish fair value gap over here. If we just extend that over to the right, we can see this is a demand to supply flip zone. So what this was, is this was an area of demand which tried to drive price higher because demands tried to drive price higher, then we fail. So this is essentially a flip zone. Just for context, when you see a flip zone, this is a better zone to be trading from. So this is step number one. We've analyzed 15-minute fair value gaps, right? We've analyzed things on the 15-minute time frame. The next thing we're going to look for is a lower time frame entry. So typically my lower time frame entry will be the 5-minute time frame. You can use a 1-minute time frame as well if you want, right? So that's the second thing we look for. The third thing we look for is the order flow, right? The order flow is the third most important thing, and people always mess up with the order flow. But the question is, where does the power of 3 come into all of this, right? So the power of 3 comes into this with the following. So I often get questions about what the indicator is. So this is the power of 3 by 2 degrees. So let's just type that in on the indicators. What you want to do is you want to type in PO3, right? And you want to get this one over here where it says 2 degrees, right? 2 degrees over here. Get the one that's not locked, get the free one over here. This is the higher time frame power of 3. So once you have this in place, from here it becomes very, very simple. So your settings for the power of 3 need to initially be the daily time frame, right? This is the daily time frame. So let's just kind of see what's happened. So we have this fair value gap from the previous day over here. So now when we play price on, what's happening over here? When we come